You've reached the age where you've learned a thing or two. If something wears down, you find a way to get it working again. After all, your generation invented rock and roll and went to the moon. You're a 55-year-old badass. So why should you let erectile dysfunction get you down?
In the late 1990s, a revolutionary medication burst onto the scene, promising hope for millions of men around the world. Viagra, the brainchild of scientists at Pfizer, was originally developed to treat cardiovascular conditions. The medication was supposed to relax and widen blood vessels to improve blood flow to the heart. But during the clinical trials, something completely unexpected happened. The scientists realized that it was increasing blood flow to their subjects' penises. As a result, improving their erectile function, and Pfizer realized that they had a gold mine on their hands. With this discovery, the treatment for erectile dysfunction was about to change forever. In 1998, the FDA approved Viagra as the first oral medication for ED. Viagra's approval and subsequent marketing campaigns led to widespread awareness and acceptance of ED as a medical condition. This also encouraged many men to seek treatment for the condition. Viagra quickly became one of the most prescribed drugs in the world, and with that, Pfizer's profitability soared. According to some estimates, at its height, Viagra accounted for 10 to 15% of Pfizer's total revenue. As you can see, Viagra sales peaked at over $2 billion in 2012, but you can see a steep decline in the sales ever since. Up until 2012, Pfizer owned a patent for Viagra, and once this patent expired, it opened the floodgates for other businesses to sell generic versions of the same product. Bluechew was one of the brands that seized this opportunity and offered convenient access to affordable generic versions of Viagra, Cialis, and Levitra. Bluechew was one of the biggest winners to capitalize on this expiring patent and build a huge brand. Since they are a privately held company, it's hard to say how big they are, but they are rumored to be doing $100 to $200 million in sales every year. Now let's rewind to where it all started. Bluechew was founded by Steven Sullivan and Alex Jovanovich. Steven is a former commodities trader and Alex is a doctor. The two crossed paths back in high school and dabbled in many businesses together. They spent a ton of time brainstorming business ideas, and one day they saw that the patent for Viagra was soon expiring. And the light bulb went off. They pounced on this opportunity to capitalize on this expiring patent and created a chewable solution for ED. So let's find out how Bluechew has built a massive and profitable business with basically just one drug. Before Bluechew, when corporate giants like Pfizer used to sell ED medication, the marketing and messaging around it seemed very different. Originally, the marketing for ED medication focused on providing a solution to a problem that men have been facing. This messaging inherently created a sense of lack in its targeted audience and capitalized on this feeling to persuade people to buy the product. Viagra's marketing campaigns targeted men experiencing erectile dysfunction and their partners, promising improved sexual performance and a return to satisfying intimacy. Viagra ads often featured happy couples in romantic settings, highlighting the positive impact of the medication on relationships and quality of life. And quite honestly, this was a great strategy, which generated billions of dollars in revenue. But it didn't do much to help their audience to deal with the shame that comes with a condition like ED. And if a new brand wanted to compete in this market, they needed to stand out. Bluechew is already one of the biggest brands in this domain, and they have positioned themselves for massive growth in the coming years. In 2024, there are about 150 to 200 million people suffering from erectile dysfunction across the world. This number is projected to rise to 400 to 500 million by 2030. The global ED market currently sits at $3.6 billion and is growing at 6.8% every year. Now for my favorite part of the story, let's talk about how exactly Bluechew built one of the most successful brands in this field. They basically focused on two major issues. One, the process of getting the medications, and two, the social stigma attached to ED. One thing Bluechew did was make it really easy for their customers to get the medication. One of the more interesting things about their business model is that they also own meds.com, which is a telehealth service. Meds.com allows you to call in and speak to a doctor from the comfort of your home. Ever since COVID, more and more people want to use telehealth services for non-emergency treatment, and a condition like ED has seen a massive shift in this regard. Pfizer's Viagra is a prescription medication that was only available through a doctor's visit. Many men have expressed that they are too embarrassed to ask their doctor for Viagra or Cialis. Most people don't feel very comfortable visiting a doctor to get a prescription and then a pharmacist to collect the medication. This has led to many men completely ignoring this issue, which has negatively affected their confidence in relationships. Bluechew, on the other hand, leverages meds.com's telehealth service to prescribe medication for erectile dysfunction to men, without having to see a doctor in person. This makes the medication much more accessible for the masses. But for people to even want your product, you need to generate some buzz and get eyeballs. The marketers at Bluechew were very particular about their branding and marketing, and they did an amazing job of executing it. To tackle the stigma around ED, Bluechew executed some of the most memorable marketing campaigns in recent times. Although effective, the overall messaging around ED medication before Bluechew came with a bit of stigma and shame for the users. And these users did not want to openly talk about their use of Viagra. Bluechew completely flipped this on its head, and it did wonders for their brand. Look at their brand name, for example. Humor is at the core of their brand. The lighthearted messaging in their branding efforts shines through and is so refreshing to the industry. Historically, drugs like Viagra and Cialis were deemed for older men, and this was due to the way they were marketed. This strategy was leaving out a huge portion of the market, but Bluechew's entire branding is engineered to appeal to customers of all ages. Everything from their packaging to their commercials is tailored to crush the stigma around ED. If you look at Bluechew's packaging, it isn't something you'd be embarrassed to have on your nightstand. Also, Bluechew's marketing is not another reminder for men that they suffer from ED. On the other hand, their customers are just people that want to have better sex. And when you frame it like that, it changes the entire psychology of the person watching a commercial. This simple change in the way they market their product allows them to have access to half the population of Earth, instead of only people who are quote-unquote suffering from ED. But this condition doesn't only affect a man's sex life and confidence. It can deeply affect their partners as well. Women have also expressed that they feel guilty when their partner isn't able to perform. Bluechew's marketing team recognized this opportunity and did a great job of speaking to a female audience as well. And you can see the proof if you dig a little bit deeper. 37% of the traffic on Bluechew's website is from a female audience. They have done an amazing job of targeting their customer base and removing the social stigma attached to ED. And in my honest opinion, Bluechew has been one of the biggest catalysts in changing people's perception towards it. At the core of Bluechew's marketing is incredible content that their viewers are loving. A common element you'll find in most of their marketing material is the use of humor. They have used content marketing along with great partnerships to build a rocket ship of a brand. A lot of their commercials are funny skits with recognizable faces that catch the viewer's eye and often make them take notice. On top of that, they do a great job of keeping the messaging focused on better sex for their customers with these commercials. Over the past few years, they have heavily focused on influencer marketing. They have strategically partnered with different creators like YouTubers and podcasters that fit their brand. A great example is Lana Rhoades. Just look at this commercial.
I am happy we finally got a chance to go camping.
Yeah, it's a bit colder than I expected though. Speaking of which, do you have a jacket or something that I can borrow?
I don't think that I brought the jackets.
Oh gosh, I really am cold. I might just crawl up into the sleeping bag.
Ooh, the sleeping bags. I don't think I actually brought those.
Well, I'm sure you bought something to light the fire with.
I don't think I have a lighter with me, to be completely honest with you.
No lighter? No sleeping bags? I thought you said we were going camping. What did you bring?
Well, I got Bluechew.
Well, at least we know you'll be able to pitch a tent.
And if you don't know who that is, you need to do some research. This commercial is a great example of their marketing. Let's be honest, the commercial isn't anything special and seems very low budget, which isn't a bad thing at all. This little video does a great job of getting across Bluechew's core messaging, which is that it can help you have better sex. They save money on the production and can allocate those funds to pay creators they work with. It's a win-win for both. Beyond this, sponsoring creators with strong fan bases has been a huge part of their strategy. And the ad reads for Bluechew are not your typical ad reads. They allow creators to put their own twist on the ads instead of sticking to a script. And this has helped the brand come off as more authentic than most of its competitors. Just look at this clip, for example.
All right, guys, you see the blue lights. You know what that means. It means this is your daily reminder that your dick game sucks. And, you know, I don't mean sucks in a good way with dicks. I mean, your shit is trash, probably. At least mine is. And if yours is, we could be friends on that. But you know what we could also do? Improve the dick game, get a little better. Even if your dick game is good and you probably think it is and it's probably not, it could be better. That's why you need Bluechew. It's got the same active ingredients as all those other drugs, but it works faster. It's the chew, baby. It's the Bluechew. We all love it.
Obviously, when it comes to prescription drugs, making them more appealing to the masses can create a philosophical dilemma. Maybe promoting the usage of these medications to people who might not actually suffer from ED has some negative outcomes. But I believe that this topic deserves to be discussed in depth. But that isn't the point of this video. We are merely trying to analyze how Bluechew has built a profitable company on the backbone of an amazing marketing strategy. What we can say without a doubt is that Bluechew has played a huge role in destigmatizing a very common issue among men, and that is commendable. And they have built a brand that is slowly becoming synonymous with ED medication. In the last few years, talking to a bunch of guys, I have seen the shift from people referring to ED medication as Viagra to now just calling it Bluechew. It isn't often that a brand name replaces the name of a product in general discourse among the people. One of their biggest rivals, Hims, does not hold the same status at all, even though they sell the exact same product. This is truly rarefied air. This can be credited to how they have been able to plug themselves into the culture with their marketing. In short, Bluechew identified two of the major struggles surrounding ED: the process of getting a prescription and receiving the meds, and the social stigma around ED. They structured their entire business model around these issues to build a brand that's probably worth hundreds of millions of dollars at the time of this recording. The success of Bluechew in a market that is typically dominated by big pharma companies is a great example of how having laser focus on a pain point can yield amazing returns. Their marketing strategy has many parallels with another one of our favorite brands, Manscaped. They also utilize similar content and partnership strategies to build a brand for men that men can be proud to use. If you want to learn more about how Manscaped went about this, check out our in-depth analysis of Manscaped.